Hi everybody, welcome to today's FindTheBestCarPrice.com video. Today we're going to take a look at the 2021 version of the Chevrolet Camaro 1SS Coupe. It has a price of $42,790. Let's get started with our tour.
And one reason why you might want to buy a brand new Camaro compared to a used Camaro is the 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty that is covering bumper to bumper. The exterior color on this particular Camaro is wild cherry tint coat. And I must say, it's accented very well by the black trim with the grille, the wheels, all over the vehicle, even with the heat extractor right here in the center of the hood. If you're wondering, is that active? Yes, it is, but it's not allowing air in, it's allowing heat out. And for obvious reasons, you're going to find performance suspension, limited slip differential. The tires are run flat, summer only. And here's something you might want to consider. If you're thinking to yourself, this Camaro rides a little bit rough for my taste, you can change those tires out for something with a little bit taller sidewall that will allow for a little bit better absorption of the bumps driving down the road. At all four corners are Brembo Performance 4-piston brakes. That's at the front and the rear. You also have a driver mode selector. And what's under the hood? It's the naturally aspirated 6.2-liter V8. 455 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. That's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, putting power to the ground through the rear-wheel drive system. And gas mileage, I can't imagine anybody who owns a Camaro SS even coming close. 16 miles per gallon city, 26 out on the highway, estimated 20 total. I don't think anyone's going to even come close to getting there. And one more thing that I have to point out here that I really like, just being a gearhead, and most people who drive a Camaro are probably going to be a gearhead unless they're driving their parents' car. Well, maybe not. But I like the fact, let's say that correctly, that you don't have to go hunting for some kind of a rod or anything like that to put in place when you open the hood, because you have the struts on each side, just making the process of opening the hood so much easier. So, well, you can spend more time talking to your friends and showing off your Camaro when you go to Cars and Coffee, as opposed to fumbling around trying to find that stand. And of course, power side view mirrors, passive entry. That's this little button right here. In case you ever wondered what that's called, you walk up when you have the remote on your person, push that button to lock and or unlock the interior. And safety features, I'm going to list those on the screen for you real quick, at least a partial list. And as long as this Camaro stays in inventory here at Red River Chevrolet, if you want to see something additional to what I'm showing on the screen, check out the link down in the description of the video. But don't do that until you finish watching. And as we take a look at the rear, of course, I can't help but mention the rear spoiler back here that really finishes things off quite nice on the rear here. Just gives it more of a racy look. And you have dual exhaust down there. What exactly does that sound like? Take a listen for yourself. I hit the push button start, mainly because I want to get the air conditioner up and running. We won't turn that up too high, but try and get some air flowing. A little bit warm today here in Northwest Louisiana. You do have a sunroof right here, and no, it's not a panoramic sunroof. I don't think you need that in the Camaro, because there's just not enough space in the back seat for anybody to sit back there. Unless your kids want to sit Indian style, then it might work. But nonetheless, the front seat, of course, plenty of technology. The seats have some nice bolstering. I really like the design here. Even though these are cloth seats, still very nice. You've got multiple driving modes that I mentioned earlier. Everything very easy to see here on the screen. You can use a digital speedometer if you want to, or you can use the analog that's right there on the right-hand side, plus your tachometer, steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. And over here on the left-hand side, the most underused feature that is standard on every single Camaro. But here in Northwest Louisiana, people like to save that. I think they believe it's going to add value to their vehicle when they trade it in. It's the turn signal. If you don't know how that works, you push it up when you're turning right or changing lanes to the right, and the same thing when you're going to the left, you push it into the down position. You know, that actually just lets people around you know what you're going to do. Novel idea, isn't it? Steering wheel mounted controls and a nice, comfortable steering wheel here. The steering, of course, nice and tight as you would expect here. I'll give you a good shot of everything here on the steering wheel. And of course, over here on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, can't really say anything sarcastic about that because for some reason, people use their windshield wipers, unless you have Rain-X, of course, on your windshield, but they'll use their windshield wipers when it's raining. Why can't you use the same process when you're turning or changing lanes? And the touch screen here, Chevrolet's infotainment system. And I say this in a lot of my videos, and some people probably think, oh, you don't need to really say that, but believe me, I do. There are people out there who have old enough vehicles, they still don't have this kind of technology. And trust me, folks, it's easy to learn, it's easy to use. Chevrolet's infotainment system, one of the easiest in the industry. Here's all your controls for air conditioning down here. And if you aren't familiar with this, you actually toggle or literally just use these air conditioning vents as kind of a dial to control fan speed and temperature. There's your shifter, of course, and your selectors here for you can turn traction control off. This is where you're going to change the driving mode, power parking brake. You've got your cup holders. And hey, we're going to start out with another great driver here. I've already had a couple things happen. For those of you who like to hear what I have to say about bad drivers that I encounter when I'm driving around on these test drives, well, I missed the first two, but I happened to catch that one. So, okay, let's start out here on the test drive. Don't have anybody in front of me to make sarcastic remarks about, but what I do have in front of me are some decently sharp corners, not too sharp, but enough to kind of test the handling of this Camaro, which you would expect to be, well, very good, and obviously it is. Good tight steering. The steering wheel is obviously going to allow for, or the steering system, maybe I should say, but very responsive. And let's just give it a little exhaust test, or maybe a little bit of an acceleration test. Since we're in Bossier City, I don't think I want to do too much of that, but I think you could probably hear that. That is pretty impressive. I wish I had the camera in a position where you could see it kind of push me back in the seat a little bit and all that good stuff. I did that on another test drive with the Camaro SS earlier this year, or might have been late last year, but it was basically the same thing as what we're doing today. But the only difference was that I just wasn't real happy with having the camera mounted where it was. It just didn't feel like the shot was very good. But obviously, as you would expect, plenty of power, plenty of fun, plenty of get up and go, you know, and just that awesome sound. You can't really beat that. So one more time. A little bit of an exhaust crackle coming out there. Not quite as much as I'd like to have, but again, if we were in Shreveport, I might push a little bit harder, but we're not in Shreveport, and in Bossier City, I just don't want to get a ticket. You know, I've never been pulled over on Vehicle Visionary before. We're going to keep it that way. But just a fun car to drive. I mean, obviously you could use this as a daily driver, absolutely no problem at all. If you wanted to use it as just a weekend car, well, yeah, you could do that too, just depending on what your personal preferences are and desires. There's definitely enough room here, depending on what your situation is, to make this an easy daily driver. But I guarantee you, if you drive the way I would probably drive this car, well, there's no probably about it. Let's just face reality. We're not going to get anywhere near those estimated MPGs. But I don't think that's the idea when you have the 455 horsepower 6.2 liter under the hood, and just an overall fun car to drive in every form and fashion. Even when you're just kind of cruising down the road like this, it would be fun to lay into it a little bit more, but I gotta be good today. I hope you were able to see that on video right there. That looked pretty interesting. I forgot the camera was on, so I was thinking, oh man, I didn't get that. But I think I did get that. Leave your comments down there. Tell me what you think.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any other vehicle you are interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.